Great. Remmenga joins us once again for some more free legal advice. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And today we're going to be discussing the will, or a will, and estate planning in general, and just exactly what that process is like, and breaking down what it is in general.
Well, in general, estate planning is planning for the situation of what's going to happen to your property, who's going to take care of your kids, who's going to manage the situation upon your death.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the simple
Basic
what it
definition
is.
right there.
Right. So there are various ways you can do it. You can give away all your property before you die, and therefore you don't have an estate when you die with nothing to give away.
Okay.
Most people aren't going to do that.
Right.
Second option would be a will. Really, all a will is a document that says who's going to be in charge of the process when I die, who do I want to get my property, and who's going to take care of my children if I still have minor children.
Right. Okay.
You don't necessarily need a will. Under the state of Colorado law, if you don't have a will, they have a formula set up for who's going to take care of the kids, who's going to be in charge, and where your property is going to go. But by you having a will, you get to vary from that standard state law on what happens to it.
Okay.
You can give it to who you actually want rather than rely on the state. So don't worry about all these misleading thoughts where if you don't have a will, the state's going to take your property and keep it. They have a process where it's going to get to your family in the proportions that the state has already set up.
Okay.
But the will allows you to have input in who's going to be in charge, who's going to do those things.
Okay. There's obviously different scenarios, I'm guessing, but exactly how does the state determine who gets what if there's multiple immediate family members still alive after the death, if the will is not set up?
Well, in general, the first thing you need to decide is who's going to take care of the process.
Okay.
That's called a personal representative. It's somebody who's going to collect all your assets, account for them, and distribute it.
Okay.
If you don't have a will, the state says it's going to be your spouse, then it moves to your children, then it moves to your parents, and it spreads out along the family tree.
Okay.
If you don't have a will, then your property first goes half to your spouse, the other half gets divided amongst all your children.
Okay.
If you don't have any children, it all goes to your spouse. If you don't have a spouse or children, it gets distributed up and down the family tree.
Okay.
So if you want a specific charity to get it, you want one of your children to get more, you want something like that, you need to have a will to go away from that standard formula.
Okay, and you mentioned to me that you don't necessarily need an attorney present, you just need a witness to make it a legal document, or even just in your own handwriting?
Well, there are three ways that you can do it. You can go to an attorney who's going to go through all the process, make sure everything's covered under their standards. You can do it yourself with one of those forms, or you can handwrite the whole thing, just have it witnessed.
Okay. Fair enough, that's all it takes. So, all right, if you have any questions about that or just want a free consultation with Greg, feel free to contact him with that information right there on your screen. We'll be right back right after the break.
If you want Greg to answer one of your legal questions, visit KREXTV.com, click on Live in the Studio, and submit your question on the right side of the screen. Watch Greg's segment every Wednesday on News Channel 5 at noon.